Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today, I'm going to talk about 3 watch brands I personally would never wear, and why I wouldn't. Now, of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today, I'm still wearing the Breguet Marine 5817. Loving this very, very much. This is the previous generation. And also, guys, don't forget to check out delraywatch.com. We just got in some very special watches, including an extremely rare Vacheron Constantin Métier d'Art. I butchered the hell out of that pronunciation, with a very special handmade enamel dial. This is an extremely rare watch, not for the faint of heart, but I suggest everybody at least take a look at it because the dial is very special. We got a killer piece, bang for buck, a Jacques Dro Tonneau GMT. This is a manual wind GMT watch with a shaped movement made by Jacques Dro, one of the highest end makers in the Swatch Group stable. And it is a fantastic price. High horology, or close to high horology, for not that much money at all, for about the price of a Tudor. And the Rolex Cellini Prince, my favorite Rolex, and some say the finest Rolex ever made, at least in terms of movement finishing. One of the few times Rolex actually tried, and of course it's discontinued, but we have one at delraywatch.com, link in the description below. So yeah, guys, we all have our opinions on certain watch brands, what we would wear, what we wouldn't wear. And I want to preface this video by saying it's entirely my opinion. So if you own any of these, listen, it's cool. At least you're a watch collector. I personally wouldn't wear them. So this is not scientific. This is entirely my opinion. But I'm going to tell you why I feel this way. And this is in no particular order. The first brand I would never wear is Jacob & Co. Well, Jacob & Co. What can we say about Jacob & Co.? Well, Jacob himself is a very interesting individual. The very interesting past. You guys should all Google it. I'm not going to say any more. But regarding his watches, well, he seems to make 2 types of watches. Either the extremely expensive, gaudy stuff, or the real turds that he overprices and then sells to the gray market like me. What can I say? Well, the first watch I think that made him really famous is the 5 time zone kind of world time watch. And I remember I bought a whole heap of these directly from somebody dumping Jacob, and I bought them at like 10 cents on the dollar. Mr. Arabo really had a cash flow pinch that time. And I can tell you, even though I bought them for nothing, half of them arrived directly from Jacob with broken straps, broken movements, and when we actually opened this watch up, it was the 5 cheapest piece of crap quartz movements you've ever seen, in the cheapest stainless steel case, and with the worst quality strap, and he was selling them for thousands of bucks. Or he wasn't selling them, he just listed them for thousands of bucks because I bought them for 10 cents on the dollar, along with a bunch of other dealers. Anyway, my watchmaker said if I ever buy these again, he'd quit. And we never bought them again. Now, the high-end stuff is truly fantastic. Jacob & Company is more than capable of making some great watches, but it's just the vibe they give off. Things are too complex. The people that wear them, I almost feel like they don't really want to wear them. They either got the watch for free or, I don't know. There's a lot of like mid-tier social media celebrities wearing Jacob & Co. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't love the way they look. I appreciate the high horology, even though they've made some real awful stuff. It's just not something I ever see getting on my wrist. Everything from the vibe to the history of the company to just the price point and even the people that kind of seem to wear them. Everything turns me off. Next is Richard Mille. Boy, this is going to turn some people off. But I think people with Richard Mille have more money than sense. Because Richard Mille, while they make some extraordinary watches, the prices are just ridiculous. They've got to be the watch with the biggest discrepancy in price point to quality. Quality is very high, but the price is even higher. I'll never forget, in one model, they used the same Vaucher movement as Maurice Lacroix. Now, that Richard Mille was like $100,000+. You can get the Maurice Lacroix used for $2,000. It's totally ridiculous. Now, Mr. Mille himself is not a watchmaker. He's a genius marketer, and he's gotten billionaires to love his watches. And you know what? Much respect. If I could build the same thing, I'm not saying I wouldn't. But as a watch collector, as a watch lover, I'd rather buy 15 other watches and get more horological pleasure than I would with one Richard Mille. I also find the brand massively douchey. Now, what would you do if you can't afford a Richard Mille? You'd buy a Hublot. What would you do if you can't afford a Hublot? You'd buy a UBoat. And UBoat is the third brand I'd never wear. Designed by Italo Fontana, an Italian. It's got that kind of Panerai vibe, but with no elegance, no thought. Everything's too big, and I like big, but everything's way too big. Movements are unfinished. The brand hasn't really evolved, and it's another brand that you can find at like 70% off on shopworn.com occasionally when they have a cash crunch and they have to dump their inventory. I don't know. UBoat, put it this way. If I vacationed on the Jersey Shore, I'd wear a UBoat. No offense to the Jersey Shore. I actually kind of like the Jersey Shore. I like it more than I like UBoat. Anyway, guys, those are 3 brands I would never wear. This video is all in good fun, but it is my opinion. Please leave your opinion down in the comments section below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really does help. Don't forget to check out delraywatch.com. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Guys, thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.